stereo power.
It's day number 2 at BAYLANDS Raceway Park in Fremont, California. Last night, a 75-car field was on hand to see Brad Doty take quick time in the Bowers Coal Company Chevy 15525. Heat race winners were Doty, Steve Scott, Jack Hodenschild, Ron Horton, and Lee James. Chuck Gurney of Pleasanton won the semi-main, and Steve Kinzer of Bloomington, Indiana, won the main event. Lap leaders, Boldrini 1 through 2, Wolfgang 3 through 9, and Kinzer took the laps he needed, 10 through 13. The fans are filing into Fremont. Let's get an interview with the Wolfman, Doug Wolfgang. We're with Doug Wolfgang out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Doug, talk a little about the racetrack last night and how it's going to be tonight. What do you think?
Well, I have no idea how it'll be tonight because it seems like they can almost always keep things different and keep the guys guessing, so I wouldn't know exactly how it'll be. It's a little early yet. Last night it was super rough, and it was real hard for the average racer, especially the local guys that hadn't run on real rough racetracks. Or any of the guys, not even the out-of-town guys, but anybody, and it was as rough as they ever come, and it made for difficult conditions, both for the race driver and for the mechanic, because it was hard to set the car, and then even if it was close to being set up, it was hard to drive.
For fans that just see you and you come out here to the West Coast, how does this track compare as far as the roughness? So you said it was pretty rough, but all the tracks you run, was it rougher than usual?
It was plenty rough, but we run on racetracks all across the United States, and a lot of times it might come up a rainstorm at 6 o'clock at night or something, and you never can tell, you know. It's definitely not the roughest one I've ever been on, but it was in the top 10 or 20.
I read a lot about the travel you guys put through, and reading a lot of issues recently where it's really getting to Doug Wolfgang. And you think you're going to stick with us for a while, or maybe go another circuit?
I don't know where you've been reading, but I never read it. I never said any of that stuff. I like to travel and I like to race, and I can't imagine working a regular job.
This does it ever get tiring, though? I mean, it does get a little once in a while.
Sure it does. I mean, two weeks ago on Labor Day Monday, I drove from I-70 Speedway on a Sunday afternoon to DuQuoin, Illinois for a Champ Dirt race, which was nothing. It was only 5 hours. Made 2 laps, missed the entire show because I was too slow. Drove home to Sioux Falls, South Dakota, 16 hours straight through by 7 o'clock the next morning to get my kids to school for the first day.
Is that right?
And that's tiring.
That really is. What does Doug Wolfgang want to do before he quits racing? Is there one thing in particular?
Well, you mean like win
Racing
Indianapolis and all that kind of stuff?
Maybe just
everybody wants to win Indianapolis, and everybody wants to win Daytona, and everybody wants to be a superstar, Darrell Waltrip or an A.J. Foyt. So I would be lying to tell you that I don't care about any of that stuff, because I do. I have always since I've been about 8 or 9 years old. But I'm also realistic enough to know that only the best get to be the best, and there are only a few real good superstars, and even if you are great nowadays, it takes a ton of money and an awful good operation to make everything right. So all I can hope for is for the best that can happen for me. You know, I have desire to win Indianapolis, but I also know it takes more than desire.
The feeling of driving a sprint car, all of us watch it in the stands for many, many years. Can you describe it briefly, what the feeling is going down over 100 miles an hour in a dirt track and broad slide?
I would guess that if the average guy that had never been to a sprint car race before in his life, you know, which is not the average fan. The average fan have been here since 1959 or 60, and they've progressed from going 27 seconds around a half mile to going 16 seconds. But right. The guy who just come in off the street and seen it for the first time would absolutely petrify him just to watch it. And if he were to get in it, he just couldn't do it. It'd be absolutely impossible. But for me, I've been running for about 10 or 11 years, not all the time in sprint cars, but I started out in stock cars, you know, and then super modifieds, and then super sprint, you know, sprint cars and super sprints, and it's kind of like, for me, it isn't much more than going down a freeway, going 100 and just exiting off the off ramp. It's not much more than that. The average person wouldn't like it, though.
Yeah. Doug, thanks for talking with us. It's just been a pleasure watching you race all those years. I hope you keep doing it.
No problem. I'll be here.
Doug Wolfgang, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Rick, we read the zero was not so much money you made your first year. Is that right?
That's right. That's correct.
It's been a little better since then, huh?
Well, definitely. That really is how we got to number zero. We just never did nothing, and so we decided we didn't have zero our first year. I think we went to zero about my third year, and that's actually where we got the number from, is because we never did anything, and so we decided maybe the zero would be a good number. But it has changed, and it has gotten better for us.
Looks like the Firkle T-shirts are going pretty good, too.
Yeah. Well, that's really great. There's the people in California have always been real receptive. To the outside people, and that's really neat. It makes us feel good, and makes us feel welcome, and it makes the trip seem worthwhile.
Now, the travel on the Outlaw circuit, of course, is getting more extensive and tougher as the years go on. How tough is it for a driver to get psyched up to go to a show? It's another track, you know, the weather, the dirt. How do you get psyched up for a race?
Well, I don't think, you know, a lot of people are into that. They feel that driving there's a lot of psychological aspect to it. I don't feel that way. I think a driver is a competitive type person. He wants to win. I want to win on whatever I do. You know, we play cards when we truck up and down the road. You know, that passes our time. We play while we're driving. You know, and I want to win. You know what I mean? It don't matter. And I think most drivers are that way. I don't think they have to be psyched up. You know, they just want to win. You know, whatever we do, you know, we just want to win at it. And I think they're that type of person, or they wouldn't be doing what they're doing. Because actually, racing, it looks really romantic, and it looks like it'd be a really neat deal. But it really isn't as neat as what a lot of people think. You know, there's a lot of hard, long hours on the road, and sometimes those become quite boring. And I think it is the competitive spirit that keeps you going. Because if you're just doing it strictly for enjoyment and fun, I don't think you'd race very long. You know.
Do you ever have a time where you think, you know, what am I doing here? I could be home doing something else?
Well, I think everybody has those kind of nights. You know, when you have a bad night, you know, you think, gee whiz, you know. But those nights go away and you forget all about it, you know, and there's more nights when you enjoy what you're doing, and that's why you do it, you know, than the nights when you say, boy, I wish I was at home, you know.
Do you remember your very first sprint car race?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I remember when the push truck pushed me off, and I go, gee whiz, how the heck can I go this fast? And I hadn't even started the car yet, you know. But, you know, that's, you know, one of the memories I have. You know, I'd never sat in a car before, and like I say, when the push truck pushed me off, I mean, I just thought he was going to crash me. You know, he was pushing me so fast. It seemed that way, you know. But of course, that was just my first night, you know, and that's sort of some of the feelings that you have on your first night. You know?
Before the organized Outlaw circuit, what were some of the tracks you ran, and what kind of a circuit did you run?
Well, before the organized Outlaws track or circuit came about, we ran West Sacramento and West Capitol. We ran Ascot. We ran Manzanita. We ran Knoxville. We ran in Pennsylvania. We ran the same places we run right now. You know, so the Outlaw thing for me was really a neat deal. You know, because it made it where there was more money to race for and so on and so forth. But as far as the traveling for us, it probably actually cut down our travel. We probably did more traveling before the Outlaw circuit became than what we do now.
All the wins you've had, is there one that has given you the best thrill?
You know, everybody asks that. That's, you know, and I can appreciate that question. But to be honest, I have to answer no. You know, I enjoy winning a heat race. You know, I just enjoy winning. And sure, you know, the ones that pay more money, you know, you think of more. But as far as the win, a win is a win is a win. You know, and you just enjoy winning. You know.
Yeah. Rick, thanks for talking with us. All the best of luck.
Thank you.
Rick Firkle, car number 0.